This is The Litter Box, a Detroit Lions podcast with your hosts, Chet West and Bill Patterson.
Litterbox Lions listeners, it's your hosts, Billy P. and Chet, and we're licking our wounds this Monday after the Lions went to Lambeau Field and didn't play very well. And it's not even the loss. It was just the fact that the Lions really did a lot of things that were self-inflicted to prevent themselves from winning. So I have a few thoughts that I'm going to kick this off with. Chet's going to share with us the Pro Football Focus grades and his thoughts as well. Thought number one is, I know in Dan Campbell we trust, but he's got to play these guys, especially the offensive line, in the preseason. It's ridiculous to have a second-year player in Mahogany and a true rookie in Ratledge and an aging veteran in Glasgow that weren't playing together in competitive football really up until this point. And I know the new mantra in the NFL is that these joint practices are what the preseason used to be and what blocking and tackling used to be. Two thoughts. One, the most of what they did was against the Miami Dolphins, who you're going to hear it here. You're going to hear it everywhere. Mike McDaniel's probably the first coach gone this year in terms of being removed from his head coaching position. The Dolphins look lifeless, and if they behaved, which we heard they performed and behaved that way when they were at Allen Park scrimmaging against the Lions, I don't know that anything was really accomplished. Chet, that's my first take. What are your thoughts?
So again, I hate the preseason because it's so hard to get a read, but the Lions preseason is even less valuable to me as somebody who's doing any sort of evaluation of these players, because we don't see anybody. We see a bunch of guys that are going to become special teamers, maybe third and fourth string guys. We got nothing out of that preseason other than Isaac Tesla has skills, which he had on display in this game for one play. But outside of that, I know nothing about what we've got on the offensive line based on preseason, other than some hearsay and some hype in practice from local press or some video footage of a inter-squad practice with another team. Otherwise, we just don't get that much game speed information, which is what you're getting in those preseason games if your starters play. So I don't know that I want them getting hurt, okay? But I wouldn't mind seeing them for a couple series at game speed so that some sort of tape could be put together and analyzed. But still, who knows who they'd be going up against? They certainly wouldn't be going up against the vaunted Packer line that they went up against this past week, which surprised the daylights out of me. And I'm going to stand by this. Micah Parsons was good. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't that good, though. He was good. But the rest of that line was good, which shocked me. I did not think they had that much talent on that Green Bay defense.
I agree 100% with everything you're saying. Again, I don't know that the answer lies in preseason, but the Lions clearly didn't look like the team that was ready to play yesterday. But a little warm-up, right?
You want a little warm-up.
We can all admit after a 27-13 loss that felt a lot more lopsided than that, because Coleslaw's touchdown came, I don't want to say garbage time, but I mean, the game was well out of hand. With that, the Lions had ample opportunities. Yes, the offensive line couldn't get the push that they had previously gotten. One of the things that I read leading up to the game that I know you and I talked about as well was the Lions were somewhat doing cartwheels or somersaults over the fact that Kenny Clark was no longer in the division.
That didn't matter.
Being part of the trade for Micah Parsons. And what the Lions, I don't think, accounted for was the fact that there's still a lot of talent on that Green Bay defense and a lot of talent on that defensive line. Rashawn Gary played an excellent game. If I had to give a game ball to a Packer, he would be one of them that I would give one to. And the other gentleman was Lucas Van Ness, formerly an Iowa Hawkeye, first-round pick that the Packers had gotten pretty frustrated with. But both of those gentlemen schooled the entire offensive line. So I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if it was lack of reps. Let's flip to the defensive side, because the defensive line wasn't a whole lot better. They did stop Jacobs in the running game for most of the first half and a good portion of the third quarter. But Jordan Love wasn't pressured at all in this game. And Aidan Hutchinson looked every bit as rusty as someone that broke their leg last year against the Cowboys and hadn't really been playing at game speed. We all trust Brad Holmes, but he kept telling us as Lions fans that everything they needed was internal, that they had the pass rush they needed, that they had the personnel they needed. I'm still waiting to spot Marcus Davenport because I didn't see a darn thing out of him yesterday. The other part of this is third downs. The Lions actually did a decent job after the first 4 first downs, third downs that were all completions for the Packers on third and varying lengths, but most of them long. Those were the only 4 that the Packers got, but the damage was done at that point. So that would be my take number 2, is that I don't think the defensive line did what they needed to do, generating a pass rush. And then when they started to make a little bit more pressure, they were gouged for the run. Your thoughts?
So here's something interesting. I'm going to give you a couple things here. We're going to talk about some PFF grades here in a little bit and kind of go through the grades that this team was given. The Lions did not generate the eyeball test, grades aside. We had nothing coming up the middle, nothing up the gut from a pass rush standpoint. And by the way, just to pick on somebody a little bit, Alex Anzalone, make that pick. Make that interception. The ball's in your hands. You got 2 hands on the ball. I know you're a linebacker, but you're also supposed to be good in that pass coverage, and you were there. It was a terrible pass by Love. You could have made him pay right there and flipped that game. We needed a play by the defense. Didn't get it. They just didn't make a play. They did really well against the rush, in my opinion. They actually did. It was the passing game they got shredded, and that shocked me.
In Anzalone, that was one mistake. The other was Rock Yassin's holding penalty that negated Brian Branch's beautiful
interception.
Pick 6.
Yeah.
And that would have been, very much a difference in the game. So my third take and point, do the Lions not have anybody on this staff that understands the kickoff rules 2025? Because they were penalized in every preseason game, and they were penalized twice yesterday on this. I'm not going to lie to you.
I hate the new kickoff rules. I think all this kickoff stuff is all just, it drives me crazy. Every time I see them line up, I'm like, I don't even get what they're trying to do right now. And I don't want to rehash what the rules are. I kind of get it. This whole kickoff thing drives me crazy. Just kick the damn ball off. Let them return the ball. That's all there is to it. They want to down it, let them down it.
Okay. You're taking this in a different direction. I agree with you on that. Those aren't the rules that the NFL has instituted in 2025.
We're wondering why these guys can't figure it out. It's their job to figure it out.
Yeah, so that's another one that falls back on the coaching staff and the personnel assembled. That was my third, and then the fourth point you touched on already.
Fair. It's a fair concern.
Which was just the opportunities were there for the Lions to be in this game. They're driving towards the end of the first half, and Goff throws an interception in the red zone. He was pressured heavily on that. That was points that really would have helped at that point in the game. If the Lions go in 17-10 at the half, I imagine, and getting the ball back to start the second half, we're probably seeing an entirely different playbook opened up. With that, though, the running lanes weren't there, and Jared Goff is at his worst when he's not operating under play action, and the Lions couldn't get the run going. And if they can't get this fixed this week, it's going to be a long Sunday at Ford Field against the Bears as well. I mean, what NFL team is not going to copy what the Packers did to the Lions on this?
If they can, yeah.
Yeah, if they can. I mean, that's a great point, but it's up to the Lions now and Hank Fraley and the offensive line coaches and Dan Campbell and Johnny Morton to figure this out, because there were some good plays there. The slant was working both to Laporta and to St. Brown. JMO, I could have predicted this. The second he signed his extension, he's going to be non-existent until he gets in trouble with the law or the NFL again, but will remain. I am so dubious on him that it is ridiculous.
I agree with you. I sat there the whole game just waiting for him to cost us 15 yards. I think he's got all the ability in the world, but I do question signing him to a long-term deal. So You want to go through some grades here? I kind of want to shock you a little bit, but go on. Go on. You got more to get off your chest. Do it.
Yeah, last point.
Yeah.
Did you get up off your couch just like I did when Brian Branch ripped the helmet off of Kraft, the tight end? I just expect better from our best players, and I'm starting to wonder if some of the people that we thought were going to get a lot of the money going forward, JMO was one, Hutch is another, Branch was one, Laporta's one. Maybe the Lions are going to take a page out of the Cowboys book and spread more money on the offense and build the defense through the draft, because the NFL is a scoring league and you can't score 13 points and win many games.
Brian Branch's move with the helmet, he's done stuff like that in the past. Okay. And JMO has talked, nonsense in the past and gotten 15-yard penalties. And now they're going to start cracking down on the taunting stuff more. You saw that happen in that game. Green Bay lost a 15-yarder because somebody basically rubbed his crotch in, was it Khalif Raymond's face?
It was Raymond's.
Stood right over him and started taunting him. So, we're going to see a little more of that. I think it's going to penalize us if we can't keep ourselves. And they said during the game, Romo, I believe it was, said during the game that Dan Campbell has told his players, watch it out there. We got to pull back on the taunting and the talk. So I don't know if that affects them. It takes them out of their whatever. They got to be careful with it, and they got to become a little more disciplined. And you can't rip a guy's helmet off and chuck it across the field and not expect to get a flag for that. It was a move of frustration on Branch's part, and he has done that before in the past.
It's still not a good look, and it's not a good move.
It's not a good move.
On the Romo and Nance.
It's not spitting on a player, but it's not good.
Romo and Nance were brutal yesterday.
You didn't like them. I always like them.
No.
I think they're great.
He needs to hang it up. And Tony Romo, oh my God, when they were talking about Curly Lambeau for 5 minutes.
I know, but you're at Green Bay. You're going to get that. I mean, you're going to have
give the information on the Lions, lockdown corner who may or may not be injured at this point. That's what, send Tracy Wolfson or whomever the sideline reporter is over there to find something out. So
I get your frustration, but I kind of like the show they put on.
I don't.
So
all right, PFF,
I'm going to give you some grades. These are crazy. Now look, these are PFF grades. Okay. It's not a perfect system, but it's what we got to evaluate players more in depth. A 60 grade is basically like the guy's doing his job. That's average. Okay. A 60 grade is average. Anything below that, you start drifting down into below average. When you get to 40, that's really poor. That's very poor. Okay. You get up into the 80s, that's good. That's really good. Guy had a great game in the 80s.
For reference, just for our listeners, Penei Sewell was an all-pro for the second straight year last year. He typically was grading somewhere in the low 80s to high 80s most games last season.
So I can tell you last season, Penei Sewell's overall offensive grade was 89.6. Okay? His run block was a 91.5, his pass block a 75.4. So those are all above average, obviously. 75 being the lowest he's got, okay, of all his grades. Now, let me tell you what he did in this game. He was the highest graded offensive player we had in this game. He had an overall of a 70.8. His pass block was a 69.7. His run block was a 68.4. Across the board, the highest graded player we had, the only guy that's in green, which is good. So he did above average and everything, but he did not live up to his normal standards by far, okay? He's 10 to 20 clicks off on almost everything there.
So guess what? You're making me feel better already. I love analytics when it can support something.
But he was our best offensive player, and he had to go up against Parsons the whole freaking game when Parsons was in, and he gave Parsons hell, and Parsons gave him hell. It was a good battle. The rest of the team came to play. It might have been a good battle all the way around for both teams.
All right, can you go down the rest of the O-line, please?
Yeah. So you want to do O-line first. Let's do that. So he was at 70.8 overall. We take a massive drop down. Massive drop down. Remember, 60 is the average level. Next, highest rated offensive lineman, Tate Ratledge at 57.5 overall. Tate Ratledge's 57.5 is bolstered by his 64.1 run block score. Okay? His pass blocking was a 39.2. That's your right guard. That's problematic. Okay? That's problematic.
Let's cut him some slack because it is his first start.
First game as a rookie. And you know what? He was our second highest rated offensive lineman. So
now, I do want to comment on this quickly.
Yep.
It seems that whoever plays next to Sewell always gets a bump, especially in run blocking as well, because when we talked about a couple episodes ago, Jonah Jackson got filthy rich from the Los Angeles Rams just by virtue of playing next to Sewell. The good news is we get to play Jonah Jackson.
And we get to play them
next. No. He's a Bear now.
So
that's why.
That's right. He's a Bear. So he'll be next on the list. So I'll go down this list, but that gives you a very good idea of where the weaknesses show in this game and why we really lost. The next highest rated offensive lineman was Taylor Decker at 55.2.
Yikes.
Taylor Decker's 55.2 was bolstered by his 73.5 pass block. What do you think his run block looked like? 36.6. That is horrible. Jeez. That's horrible. Now, again, these guys, a lot of these guys, their success is predicated by the guy standing next to him on that line, okay? If the guy next to you on the line isn't doing his job, it's going to make you worse because you're going to have to try to cover for him. You got to keep an eye on all the gaps. Things get tough. So Decker had a 73.5 pass block, a 36.6 run block, 55.2 overall. That is horrible, okay? Decker's overall in 2024 was a 77.2. His pass block was a 78, so he was pretty much in line, but his run block was a 70.3. So he was way under. Something has gone wrong there, okay? Christian Mahogany is next up with a 54.4 overall. Christian Mahogany did nothing well in this game. His pass block was a 43.9, and his run block was a 58.1 at left guard.
He was equal opportunity bad.
He's just a backup at this point. We have a starter, a left guard who's a backup score-wise. And by the way, like that.
Hold on. It was his third career start. You're being a little harsh.
Career start. It was his third career start. But, last year, Mahogany was much better. He only had about 144 snaps last year, okay? So that's only about 2 games worth of work, maybe a little more. Okay. He had a 91.5 overall rating in those 144 snaps, but he was a backup last year. Okay. He didn't start. 78.7 pass block and a 91.1 run block. So he wasn't even in the ball yard there.
But he was playing next to Frank Ragnow.
There you go. I'm getting there because guess who's next on the list and last?
Drum roll.
Do you have a drum roll for me?
No.
Your center.
Just give it to us.
Your starting center for the Detroit Lions, Graham Glasgow, had a 43.6 overall rating. Here's the funny part. His pass block rating was a 71.9. I don't know how. His run block was a 34.4, the lowest on the team, lower than Decker, lower than Ratledge, lower than Mahogany. That is a horrifying run block stat. And if you can't, now take a look at this now. Decker and Glasgow did a terrible job in run blocking. Mahogany did not do a good job at all at 58.1, but he was almost average. And Ratledge was 64.1. He was a little above average, and Penei Sewell was 68.4. Not a single guy cracked 70 in run blocking on that whole offensive line. I think there's a twofold issue here. Keep something in mind. Glasgow was a 57.2 overall offensive lineman last year. This is another guy that probably shouldn't be starting at offensive line anymore. He used to be a lot better earlier in his career. He went off to Denver. He came back. He had one good season in 2023 with us. Like last year, he fell off a cliff, dropped 20 points across the board. Okay. He's never been a great pass blocker. Well, I shouldn't say that. He hasn't been a good pass blocker in about 3 to 4 years, based on these grades. Graham Glasgow, I don't think he's a natural center either. I think he was a guard for a really long time when he was turning in all these stats. I think center is just not his spot. That's my thought. I think a lot of what goes on an offensive line, you're the quarterback of the O-line when you're a center. I wonder how much of this confusion, how much crazy had to do with him and his communication and his breakdown. I worry a lot, and I worried about it last season when he played center for Ragnow. It wasn't a pretty situation. So we got a big problem there. Our interior O-line is not good, and it is 3 guys who should not be starting at this point at their positions. I'm willing to give Ratledge a flyer because he's a rookie, and I think he will get a little better, and he's over there playing next to Sewell. We can handle that. It's Mahogany, it's Glasgow. We cannot handle that hole there with a rookie at the right side likewise. That is real tough. Jared Goff was throwing off his back foot all day long. His stats were no good. His grades were terrible. He got a 45.5 overall grade. I don't know how you give the grade like that to the guy when he's throwing off his back foot all day. He didn't evade the rush, and he doesn't. That's not his deal. But when you have a really bad interior O-line and you got a quarterback who's not mobile and can't flush out and run, you're going to run into all sorts of issues. He's always had a decent to good to really good interior O-line to work with. This is going to be a major hurdle for this team this season, and they're going to have to scheme around it or fix it in one way or the other. And I don't know. I'm not sure how you do that at this point. I feel like they left a gap there, personnel-wise.
I think it's Kingsley time. I think
you think it is.
The back.
You want to see Kingsley out there.
I firmly believe in this. You need a center to play center. You hire a doctor to treat your ailments. Or you go to the doctor, excuse me. You hire a certified accountant to do your taxes.
Sure.
You hire an attorney if you need legal representation. Why are you trying to move a guard that struggled moving from the left to right side, or the right, excuse me, where he played next to Sewell, to the left side?
Yeah.
And then asking him to play center, which he has done historically, but he's not. It's not like he was a center at Michigan. It's only been in the NFL, and you're taking a fish and putting him out of water and expecting him to, run a marathon. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Point taken. That's valid. Yeah. You want to go to the defense?
Yeah, I'd like to focus on the defensive line and the secondary, if you would, because there's one player in particular that I really have a lot of questions on.
Okay. So defensive line, let's go through this first, okay? I'm going to do this fairly quickly. The defense graded out much better. Brian Branch was our highest graded PFF score for the entire game at an 85.1 of anyone who played more than 10 snaps, okay? He graded out at an 85.1. He had a 91.3 cover rating, which is pretty darn good in the passing game. Almost an 80 on tackle, 56.8 on pass rush, which nobody graded great for pass rush. There was only one guy on this whole entire team that got above 70 on pass rush. Guess who it was? One guy.
Barnes?
Aidan Hutchinson. 71.3. Now put this in context. Aidan Hutchinson, his normal PFF grade when he was healthy last season and prior to was in the 90s overall and with pass rush. So he's way below, 20 beats below his norm. It's going to take him a bit probably if we see the old Hutch.
Again, what you're telling me is encouraging because of this, unless it's a complete and total regression across the board, which seems unlikely for all of these players. That's encouraging.
Our defense was not terrible yesterday. I will tell you who was in a minute, though, because I know you're wondering about this.
Kirby Joseph, just give me the score, please.
I'm going to give you Kirby Joseph, and I'm going to tell you, he was one of our highest rated defenders.
Okay.
67.5.
Awesome. That's good enough.
67.5, not our highest, but he was in the top half. Tackling 72.6, coverage 64.2, rush defense 64.8, all above average scores. Okay, nothing. We're not calling him an all-pro, but nothing terrible. He was not terrible. I will tell you who sticks out to me. We'll just jump to this. Okay, the worst coverage score on this team was our brand new cornerback DJ Reed, who spent the entire day getting burned. I can't think of a single, every receiver he had on him got past him. He had a 30.5 coverage score. 30.5. That's That is horrifying. I mean, we might have been able to put a D lineman on some of these wide receivers and got a higher score than that. Secondarily, another score that sticks out to me here. So he was the lowest graded regular on our entire defense. DJ Reed had an overall of a 38 for his PFF score for the game. That's tragic. Second lowest was Tyleik Williams. His pass rush score was a 57.7, which was kind of indicative of the whole line. Most of them were around that 55, 56, 57. Nobody did anything outstanding until you get to like Barnes and Hutch, where pass rush was concerned. Barnes had a 68.3, Hutch had a 71.3. Another guy that stuck out to me as somebody who was quite disappointing was DJ Reader. DJ Reader had a 50.8 total score. Our interior D-line did nothing. Our interior D lines 50.8 and 48.7 from Tyleik Williams. That is not good. I don't think the Packers O-line is that good. I mean, I don't know what these guys were doing, but they didn't do well on the rush D, and they didn't do great on pass rush. So that's your D line right there. Davenport was a 55.1. He was below 62. He was below 60. So was Pat O'Connor. He didn't get in there but 14 snaps. Roy Lopez, 17 snaps, 57.6. Our D-line, we lost this game in the trenches across the board. Offense and defense.
Yeah. That's
about the best way to sum that up.
Which was interesting in our preview. We said that would be the keys to winning the game.
I thought that we would do much better, and I would be looking for, you can't run an offense, and you can't really judge Morton for his offense if you can't block up the middle for a quarterback whose success is predicated on play action. If you can't run the ball up the middle and they don't have to bring anybody up into the box to stop the run game, if your offense doesn't give push for the run game, they'll beat you straight up. They don't have to bring anybody up, and the play action will never work because they're dropped back. There's no way that you can win a game when your O-line can't beat the D-line straight up. Can't push them straight up. That's just not going to happen. And we don't have an athletic quarterback that'll run out of the pocket and get flushed. And even if we did, I don't know how much of a difference it might make. But our defense...
Yesterday, it wouldn't have made any difference because...
I don't think it would.
How many times was he throwing to Gibbs as a check down? How many times was he throwing to Laporta as a check down?
Because 100%.
He couldn't even get to his hot read.
Couldn't get to the reads.
Yeah, because he had so little time and the pocket was collapsing, and he's always been a clean pocket quarterback predicated on play action, as you've already demonstrated.
I don't know if it was Romo.
Shared.
I don't know if it was Romo or Nance. One of them was like, every single play, it's like Jared Goff is throwing off his back foot and he's got people leaning into him. It was like he had 2 seconds to throw the ball on every play, and that was it. Yeah. And I will say, our rush defense, they did a good job. Jack Campbell, his rush D score was 87.6. Terry Arnold, 78.4. Alex Anzalone, 70. Our rush D was not the problem in this game. We held Josh Jacobs to almost nothing. So be proud of that. Our defense kept us in this game. They could have made a few more plays, but they didn't.
So as we wrap here, I had a question for you. Of the 2 new coordinators, I think we're both giving Johnny Morton a pass because the O-line was so bad, and it probably ate away or limited his play calling by 80%, 70% of what he wanted to do. So here's my thing on Kelvin Shepard. Why didn't he use any of the exotic blitz schemes that the Lions were using late in the season? Vikings game, the last game of the year. You know, he finally has healthy bodies. And at one point, Chet, there was a sequence of 2 plays where Davenport and Hutch were dropping into coverage. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I don't mean that as exotic. What I mean is exotic is bring Barnes, bring Anzalone, do some stunts.
Well, the stunts got us. I mean, Ratledge was tricked by the stunt multiple times.
And he's still graded better than the guy playing to his left.
Glasgow, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the good news as we kind of wrap, we will deliver a Bears preview for you all. I'm taking these PFF grades as a sign that there's a lot better performances to come. And, if not for some misfortune, the Lions could have kept this game a lot closer. It didn't feel that way because at every turn, red zone penalties, they just shot themselves in the foot. But I think there's reason for optimism coming back to Ford Field to play the Bears next. Do you feel the same way, Chet?
I have some optimism, and I'm going to be watching tonight's Monday night game very closely. This Vikings-Bears game I'm going to watch with bated breath. I do want to leave you with one thought.
I picture you with a clipboard, 2 number 2 pencils, very sharp, and a legal pad, just
and a
scribbling notes
on my lap. Harkening back to our Tigers broadcast from earlier, I want to leave you with this. This will drive you crazy. The Tennessee Titans didn't have a great game, okay? But our old friend Kevin Zeitler, do you want to know what his PFF grade was?
Ooh, it was above 80.
He would have been number 2 on our offensive line, behind Sewell. He was just behind Sewell, 66.8, so above average, 67.1 pass block, 64.1 run block. So, I'm going to be watching that line. I'm real curious to see if we can get that line in shape, because we go where that line's going to go, I think, from here on out with the offense. We'll see what happens. We might find out that the Packers are just that darn good, and we aren't that bad. We'll see what happens.
Go Lions, and please listen to our sister podcast, the Litterbox Detroit Tigers, and we will talk to you again before the Chicago Bears game next Sunday. See you, Chet.
Stay sane, Lions fans.